Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all our parents joining us today for this session. On behalf of Billabong High International Schools, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this session on the theme of why the Global Cambridge Pathway is becoming the new standard for Indian parents. In today's rapidly evolving educational landscape, many families are now rethinking what meaningful learning truly looks like, moving beyond marks and memorization towards deeper understanding, skill development, and global readiness. In this session, we will explore how the Cambridge pathway lays strong conceptual foundations and seamlessly supports learners as they move into higher education. We're delighted to have with us an esteemed speaker, Mr. Albert Marreddy Gali, academic advisor for North and East India, Cambridge International Education. Mr. Albert is a distinguished educationalist and MPhil gold medalist, a Finnish education advisor, and a Cambridge leader and Global Perspectives examiner. With extensive experience in curriculum design, university guidance, and academic leadership, he brings deep insight into both global education trends and the Cambridge system. Once again, thank you all for joining us today. You may use the chat box or the Q&A section to put in your questions during the session. Towards the end of the session, we will be addressing your questions. So thank you once again, and over to you, Albert, to take this forward now.
Thank you. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, we can.
Good. Okay, a very good afternoon to you all. I'm Mr. Albert. I'm the academic advisor for North India. Along with, we do have one more faculty, that is Miss Neha Chauhan. She's also be the counterpart advisor for North India. Today, we are going to focus about why the Indian parents mostly look into the international curriculums in order to have the better approach. Yep. Before we start, just would like to ask you one question for you. Will your child be prepared for jobs that don't exist, or marks or skills what matters more today? So when we understand this concept, we go back to maybe 20 years, maybe 15 years back when we were in child days. So we don't know what is going to happen in the future in 2026 or 2030. But still, we are learning even today to compete with the world. So in that scenario, when you know what is going to happen, so where you want your child to be, you want to have the marks or the skills, which has more weightage for you. When we check for the history in India, current challenges India is facing is a rote learning, that is the memorization. In the morning we go to school, they learn from the book, and by evening they do the homework. The next day morning they go for the school and they write in exams. So these are the challenges India has been facing in the present scenario. Next one is the exam pressure, weekly test, monthly test, and summative assessment, so on and so on. And they do have the lack of real world skills like communication, maybe, or understanding, research, analysis, evaluation. So these skills are not being delivered much in the scenario, though the curriculums have been implementing it, adopting it, but practically execution is not been happening in the 21st century. And when students are being graduated only from the local schools or maybe limited curriculum, they're not knowing about the what is going to be abroad, what is going to be local scenario, what is happening in different countries. So there is a limited exposure for these people in the different curriculums. But when we come back here, 21st century, as you and me, as a parent, we like to have our child to be more confident. So how you want to be more confident? It is what we are investing in a child. Tomorrow, my son or daughter could be able to speak in a different languages. They can be able to communicate maybe in Hindi or English and so on. So, if they're not able to go for a job, it's not any concern. But still, with the communication skill, they can become the content creators. They can become the skillful entrepreneurs. That is what the parents are looking into it. And Cambridge will give them a strong academic foundation, a clear pathway for lifelong journeys to the students. And the next one we have is the global opportunities. The moment you pitch into the Cambridge curriculum, it is not of Indian, it is of the Western, that is the British. So we speak Hindi as a mother tongue in home, but whereas in the language here, curriculum here, we call Hindi as a second language, which means we already stepped into the whole world where the whole things are happening around us. So this is the really the parents want in the 21st century. So what that is what I'm trying to invest in my child. Though the education system has been more of business, but still the curriculums has been dominating based on the skills that they implement in the in the classrooms. So when we go in depth here, so why the Cambridge? The people do ask us, so why not the other curriculums like CBSE or ICSE or IB? Why only Cambridge? So for that, we do have some kind of the information here. So most of the schools in the northern region in India have been chosen the Cambridge. In our research, we found out that the students, the parents are accepting the international recognition. Affiliation is been more than 160 countries. So if you have been affiliated with the Cambridge lower secondary or upper secondary or senior secondary, the certificate is valid in more than 160 countries. And with your degree, you can be accepted anywhere in the world across the universities, and which will be having the strong academic standards because the curriculum is designed by the professors from the University of Cambridge and the affiliated university has been appointed by the professors. And for you to understand, the University of Cambridge spends approximately $1.2 billion every year, once in 2 years, spends most on the research and innovation and development, and mostly engaging what kind of the new things that we can inculcate in the learning process. And mostly the Cambridge also focus most on skill development, that is about critical thinking and research and analytical skills. When you understand the other curriculum, they focus on the subject data that they have in the book. But Cambridge focus on the AVO, assessment objectives, the way the students should be assessed. That is what we focus on the skills. That is the 6 skills. Based on subject to subject, they differ mostly. Next one is the flexible subject choices. Including the early years, we have 6 areas of learning it. From grade 1 to grade 8, we have 13 subjects. The students or school, I mean, mostly the school chooses what kind of subject the school can offer for the students that I'll be explaining later. But if you go for ninth and 10th, we have more than 70 subjects. 11th and 12th, we have more than 50 subjects. So that is the combination. The flexibility is given by the Cambridge. So students can choose which of the stream they like to have it. It is not like the olden days, like English, math, science, humanities or something. Here we have the vast variety of subjects are available for all the students and for the schools which are opting the Cambridge curriculum. The fundamental one which we have is it is not only the education that we give in the school level, but also what we do after the graduation, that is after 12th. The recognition comes from the AS and A level, that is after 12th, is been accepted across the world and even Indian universities. In India, more than 1339 universities are accepting or accreditation in India, whereas in other countries also we do have the accreditation. So this is a major reason why the Cambridge has been accepted across the world, and most of the parents who have been learned parents have been focusing where my child has to be after 20-25 years. For that, is this the right bench? Yes, Cambridge is the right pathway for all my parents, so they choose it. So to have the unparalleled legacy about the University of Cambridge, so just want to give you a little more information. And University of Cambridge has been into existence more than 817 years old, and we do have a lot of what do you call the learned people across the globe, and we have more than 121 Nobel awardees in the line, and we can see here Sir Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking, and Charles Darwin. So you may say, no, University of Cambridge is from the Western, and people have been graduated. Most of us to Western people. And what about India and about subcontinent and the regions? So we do have the Indian eminent people, like first Prime Minister Nehruji and many other leaders whom we see as a strong academic background, which led for the independence of our nation. So to go further, so in India, we have more than 900 plus schools are available, and where the Cambridge has been affiliated and they've been going very well. And few schools have been mentioned here, and Sri Ram British and JST Periwal School has been winning the international awards for the toppers, irrespective of the subjects: math, science, chemistry, bio, art and design, Hindi, and many other subjects. This school has been getting a lot of awards in India for the last couple of years. And to understand how far we are aligning with the governments and how we are adopting the textbooks with the government and the curriculum with the government. So BMC has signed with a deal with a Cambridge board, and also Gujarat also signed with a MOE with the government. So the skill enhancement can happen from the government schools also. It is not only for the international school, but also for government schools, how far they can be able to align skill development from the early days. So, as I said earlier, we, the Cambridge International Education, are part of the University of Cambridge. and which works mostly in 160 plus countries, and which have more than 10,800 schools, which are soon we are going to be crossing about 11,000 schools across. In India, we are coming near to 1,000 schools, and we here have the world's largest provider of international qualification, that is the early years to until grade 12. Even beyond that, we are trying to help them through STEM pathway programs so that they can go for a NEET and JEE examination, or if they want to go for UPSC examination also. Some of our specified curriculum subjects like sociology, psychology, and history, politics, political science, that we are the part of these humanities. So they also help them for the international recognition. So this is about just introduction about it. But if you want to go into the understand about the Cambridge Pathway has five different programs. The first program is the Cambridge Early Years. Cambridge Early Years starts with the age of 2.8 to 3 years plus, and here we don't call subjects, we call them the areas of learning. So we have about six areas of learning, which I'll be explaining later. The second program is Cambridge Primary. Here the 5 plus year, that is the age 6 onwards, will start into the primary. We have 13 subjects. Same goes with the lower secondary. We have 13 subjects. But when you go for the grade 9 and 10, that is the Cambridge upper secondary, we have 70 plus subjects are available. In 70 plus subjects, 30 are different languages. Students can choose whatever the language they would like to have it, like French, Japanese, Italian, Spanish. Then many other languages also there. Sanskrit was there, but due to the less number of entries, Sanskrit has been withdrawn from the 20s, will be withdrawn from 2027. And apart from that, we do have the Cambridge O level, which offers 40 plus subjects, and we do have the Cambridge ICE award. It is a like all in one, the combination degree. This is the mostly accepted in the USA, UK, and the well-known developed nations, where we focus most in the global perspectives. It is a research-based subject. Normally, we have in a ICE award. The last pathway is the Cambridge Advanced, that is for the grade 11 and 12. It is a more in-depth understanding about a subject rather than being taught by the teachers in the classroom. So here, the teachers become the facilitators, and they try to explain the concepts in a skillful way rather than bookish way of learning it. So when we see this pathway, so we may understand that. So the Cambridge schools have been coming up and they've been training well. So what about the teachers and how we go on? For that, Cambridge has come out with the Cambridge Professional Development Program for all the teachers from the early years to till the grade 12. So if any teacher would like to join the Cambridge, they first undergo this training. Without this training, a school or the organization will not be able to run that program in an organization or school. So we also, as an advisors, we look into the school's affiliation before they start, whether the teachers have been very well trained or not, have they known the pedagogy, how they will be able to teach in the classroom. So this is a pathway. This is not only for the teachers, but also we guide the principals, the school leaders, directors about the Cambridge innovations, this new things, whatever we have it in the hand. So we try to explain to the management in a systematic way. So now let's get back to the first program, that is the Cambridge Early Years. So where the present scenario, the North India, most of the schools have been opting for the Cambridge Early Years. Cambridge Early Years starts with the age of 3, goes till the age of 6, and most it is based on understanding the social skills only. So as I said earlier, on the right side we have the 6 areas of learning, that is the communication, language literacy, creative expression, mathematics, personal, social, emotional development, physical development, and understanding the world. So these are the 6 areas the students will learn in 3 years of time. That is earlier 1, earlier 2, earlier 3. So when they are learning, it is the balanced curriculum with a holistic approach. So students learn from day 1 how and why and where, and it has to be inculcated in the classroom. So, when you know the curriculum, it is not only just the curriculum. How do we go? So, the Cambridge provides a curriculum based on the understanding, the knowledge and the skills. Here, people try to understand what we try to learn in curriculum. In pedagogy, the teachers will understand how we need to teach the patterns we follow. In assessment, how the students' learning process can be evaluated. So this is a triangle cycle one. It happens after the other. So we don't judge the students based on the marks that they get it, but based on the skills they apply in the examination. Memorization is the least one we focus in the Cambridge because the questions will not be repeated. The topics what we discuss will not be coming in the same exams. So it is based on skill. The questions will be asked. The students will know the content and will be able to adjust the data and map it with the questions asked by the examiners. So this is a normally learning statement that we have in the Cambridge. It is not only for the early years, the same strategy followed across the programs from the earliest to AS and A level. So the earliest approach, mostly we focus on, there are 5 ways of approach. First is the experience. So here the learner should be able to understand what is my social and cultural ambience where we are there, and what my kith and kin, teachers, friends, relatives, how am I learning it, the things around us. Through experience, they'll be learning. Even teachers also will be able to guide them in the process. Next one is the activity based learning. Here the students will be mostly activity involved, their own learning process, mostly taking the responsibility in the classroom and guiding the teacher, supporting all students. So activity mostly builds the confidence and the self-worth being in a classroom. The next one is the balance. Not only academics, but also all other activities must be inculcated. As we said, we go most into theory that in early years, that is the language and communication. Second one is the mathematics. Apart from these two, there are 4 other areas also, which always focus mostly for the holistic growth of the child. We focus here the language, cognitive, physical, and also social emotional development of the children in the classroom. Next one is the not only academics in the classroom, but also teachers will take the students outside, visiting places and having the hands-on experiences. So that comes in the play group. Not only play, but also the physical fitness, well-being also been added to the curriculum. The last one is that this is not the transition what they learn it is a transition through academically what they are learning in year 1, year 2 and year 3 will progress to the primary grades. So that is what I'm going to be explaining in the next slides here. So once they had learned the year 1, year 2, year 3, so this is what they're going to be learning in the primary grades. In primary they have the 13 subjects to choose from. So here mostly focus on the skill base with the subject oriented, but whereas in the primary we focus on activity based in the classroom transactions. So we have 13 subjects in the primary, which will come later stages. So when you check on the curriculum of the early years, so first on the left side, we have the earlier one, ages 3 and 4, earlier 2, earlier 5 and 6. I mean, earlier 3, years 5 and 6. So the transition goes what I'm learning in the level 1, that is the first one. So as I said earlier, we don't focus on the textbooks. We focus on the curriculum given by the Cambridge, and we support the curriculum with the textbooks given by the Cambridge resources. So we focus on the learning object in the classroom, not the topic subheadings. We call them as a learner object. Is the learner object is the I mentioned here in the earlier one. We mentioned one CLC, that is the communication language and so on. So that is the number one. So second year we call the 2 CLC. Third year we call is a 3 CLC. This is a progression happens year after year, and even parents can also tap on what they're learning in the first year, how it has been connected to the next year, like systematic continuous process that we have in the curriculum, which is the most in the child focused curriculum. It is not the teacher focused. Teacher is only the orator, we call is a trainer or facilitator to guide the child to involve in the activities. So this is the earlier to primary. So as I said earlier, earlier one, earlier two, earlier three, but now you can find primary stage two, which means you're getting into the real life situations. So earlier you'll know basic details about the numbers. When you say number five, you show a picture of 5 fingers. They'll say how many are there. They may you repeat again and again. So they'll be able to slowly understand there are 5 fingers for a hand. Well, second year they can count the numbers 1 to 10, but the last maybe year 3 they can count 10 to 100, but here they go beyond 100, maybe tables and beyond they can be able to. So this is a continuous progression pathway, the transition that we have it from the Cambridge earliest to Cambridge primary. So as I said earlier, we focus mostly on the 6 areas of learning, not on the subject wise. We have the call is the areas of learning. Here we find the different resources. It is not that no, we just give the rules and regulations, you follow it. No, we guide you with the resources for the curriculum. What we have provided, we do have the resources, subject wise, activity wise. Even you can scan the QR code, you'll find a lot of resources which are available for the earliest. How far it is being trained well by the teachers to the students, and we do have the as a hub for the students, also, for the students and the parents as well as for the teachers. For the teachers, we call it is a school support hub, where we give the curriculum, past papers, data, resources, back-end training programs, webinars. A lot of data will be given for the teachers for the classroom transaction. But whereas for the Cambridge Go, it is only for the school also, but also for the parents and the children. The parents can also view the resources which are available from the Cambridge, which you can be able to practice if you like to have it in the school or maybe at home, that you can do, that your students is able to cover the syllabus, or maybe you like to guide them. So there are two platforms which are given by the Cambridge. One for the parents, that is the Cambridge Go. For the teachers, it is called, for the school and teachers call is a school support hub. So we have the Cambridge check together. There is an online story-based digital examination, maybe an assessment. We don't call it exam, we call assessment in the Cambridge. And here mostly we cover about the curriculum, about the literacy, about the numbers, about the how well the students have been evolving in the classroom, understanding each other, listening, reacting, supporting each other. So these all things will be measured based on the digital assessment story based data. So once the assessment is done, you will be getting a proper report card. So you can see how far your child is able to understand the data given by the teacher. So there is a two ways here. Normally when assessment going on, we have the two teachers. One is the primary teacher, the teacher who has been teaching. The next one is the shadow teacher. Why we have two teachers when you are going for check together? Because a teacher may be biased if there is only one based on the student ratio, but when there is a two teachers, they may not be able to bias because the information being out. So that is the reason we always have the teacher one and teacher two to support the assessments in the classrooms. Not mostly focus on the grading on them, but still based on the skill progress. So you can find a lot of data here about Cambridge early years. And they can also be finding data. You can also find some little videos how the Cambridge has been training the teachers, and how that we are giving the affiliation to the schools after the training. So next one is the Cambridge primary program. So in Cambridge primary program, the students mostly start at the end of age 5 and starting of the grade 6 to grade 11. Here, the curriculum mostly slowly deep dives into the theoretical, but not on the pen and paper mostly, but most in the little project based, skill based understanding. And it is also a balanced curriculum. It is also shapes the students to understand what we are learning and how we are learning. It is not only that, getting the feedback once every session has been done. So that is the fundamental, the benefit of being in a Cambridge. The regular feedback is given to students whenever the learning object has been discussed in the classroom, so that no students able to understand where they are making mistakes and they can go. But whereas the other way is around, we can see in the schools that we go for the PTM to understand the students' behavior and so on. So that is only after 3 months or 6 months. But whereas in Cambridge, you have the high quality resources also being given to students, how far they have been involved in the classroom. So all these data can be put in the students' portfolios when you go for a data analysis from the parent, as a parent from the school side. So as I said earlier, Cambridge Primary, when you come inside here, we have the 13 different subjects Cambridge offers, but schools can choose maybe of 8 or 9, maybe 10, maybe 13, depends on the time zone and the timeline of the school and resources the school has it. But if you try to understand deeper about the curriculum here, the Cambridge already been coming out with a computing, which is a little programming. I'm sorry I forgot to say you something. Cambridge already started AI in early years to make it to understand how the AI videos have been made. And that is a different curriculum, and phonics has been made in the early years. Here the computing little programming, different from the digital literacy. Digital literacy is mostly for the people who likes to know about computer, hard drives, what is software, so on so. And English as the primary language we focus, and English as second language. Why we call English a second language? For us, English as second language because we are not the native speakers of language. So we can use it as a second language because geographically some parents may not be able to understand some regions. So we like to opt English as second language. But mostly we prefer go for the first language because it will give you a baseline for the Cambridge International Curriculum. And we don't call social sciences, we call them humanities. Here we study about the past, that is the history, the present and the economical condition, and also politics. You can also add few more topics if you the school would like to offer the humanities. And we have the mathematics. It has been a very strong subject in Cambridge. Math and science and English are the best founded subjects in the Cambridge. And we have the modern foreign languages. You can go for Spanish, French, Italian, Japanese, and many Mandarin. You can also go for this one. And music, physical education, art and design. These are the activity-based subjects, also be future focused. And we have sciences, that is in-depth understanding, and is a well-being. Well-being is a new subject which is there already, but in the past we studied about morality, moral classes in our schools. Now we came with a well-being because the parents have been working or maybe divorced, they have been staying in the hostels, depressed and psychologically downtrodden. So in that scenario, the well-being curriculum aligns systematically. The counselor or the teacher connects with each student and understands. So we can also call it the PHG, about a physical emotional development program. The last one and the most important one, where the hot cake in the Cambridge curriculum is the GP. GP has been taken by all the schools right now which have been affiliated. Every school has been teaching from the early, primary grades 1 to A level. GP we don't study the content that we have here. We study about the world, the global issues at the local level, and do proper research with the different activities. And we submit the projects to the Cambridge. And the highest scoring papers are from the GP across the curriculum. And when I say primary 2, 3, 4, I mean grade 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, we call them as a progression test at the end of the year. The Cambridge sends a past papers or the papers for the exams that you can conduct in the organization. But the end of the grade 5, we call them that is the checkpoint examination where your child also can compete at the international level. It is not just being going in nationally. If you go for checkpoint examination, only for three subjects available, that is English, mathematics, sciences, and GP we have introduced recently. But if you go for three subjects, if your child is been appearing for the examination, you can also find out where your child is standing globally, nationally, and locally, and a school level also, what rank he is getting internationally. So because the papers have been checked by the international faculties from the UK, so that is the benchmark. So how it has been divided, how do we evaluate? So when you check on the right side, there is the 40 marking for the reading, writing, and you can go for a mathematics, different skills have been measured. Even for the sciences, chemistry, earth and space, physics, biology. So these kind of things have been taught, delivered from the early stages so that people will have the baseline skills for the upper grades. So when you go for the grade 5, 6, sorry, 6, 7, and 8, that is we call the lower secondary. Grade 6 and 7 will have at the end of the grade 6 and 7, we can also go for the progression test. The progression test can be done internally. The papers also given by the Cambridge. You can take from the school support hub, so they can practice it. They can go for where they are standing in the classroom through knowledge. They can measure it. But at the end of the lower secondary, that is a grade 8, they can also go for a checkpoint examination. So the balanced life here is mostly from the ages of 11 to 14 years. Here we have the clear pathway. Now from grade 6, the students will choose. So what are my priority subjects? Where I need to focus? Though they study all subjects, but that is a pathway where they need to be leading into it. And here the progression will be very high quality. Each skill will be measured in different parameters, and there will be proper rubrics will be maintained in order to evaluate the student skills. And teachers' lessons plans are most important one because they plan for a academically national annual plan. Then there is a midterm plan every 6 months. There is a monthly plan. Then is the weekly plan. And each day, what we are going to teach, it is being discussed even before they come for the classroom, and it will be cross-checked by the coordinators and the leaders of the organization that the data what they have been mentioned, can it be deliverable or not? If not, what are the other steps can be taken in order to be the best option that we have it. So same subjects that they continue, but here the priority given for the English, Math, Science, Computing, and GP. And if they want to add on extra activities, they'll be adding it. It is up to the school how many subjects they wanted to opt in the curriculum. So this is what normally we call is a classroom and external assessments. We call it in the classroom. Whenever there is a lesson or discussion being happen, a regular assessment taken based on skill. For example, if I'm giving you a data on photosynthesis for grade 7, so I'll be after the discussion, I'll be giving you two plants and understand how far the photosynthesis happens, which comes under the analysis. If it goes for the humanity, I'll ask them what is happening between Iran and Israel and America. So please, can you know by tomorrow? So students go home, they do proper research, come back to classroom and present it. So two skills have been measured here. One is the research because the data has been taken from the online sources. They should provide the citations and from where they have taken. And they should also cross check the data is a valid or not. The next one is the communication that comes with the presentation in the classroom. So this is the way that we normally measure the skills of the students in the classroom. Normally we do not say this is the measurement, but we adopt them in the classroom in the lesson plan that no, these are the skills should be measured when you come for a listening. So on the right side, we have the Cambridge came baseline, which is a computer-based assessment. And for the students, if you wanted to understand about what you are doing it, they can also go. And check assessment is a checkpoint benchmark, which I already explained to you for the primary. For this one also, I'll explain you next slide. And we do progress about the feedback is given for all the children whenever there is a proper monitor has been happening. So this is the lower secondary checkpoint illustration or graph for your example. For English, what is the international benchmark is a 34 if you're going for a 50 marks. And if mostly people easily they can score about 40 plus because the language the Cambridge gives is a very, very solid one because no, they learn the different vocabulary in day-to-day life. So next one is the mathematics. The students will be learning in mathematics about the thinking and working mathematically, not most of the activities, but still in the mathematical perspective will be there, like statistics, probabilities, geometry and measure, algebra. So all these will come from the grade 6, but they study year by year into progression. But when you go for sciences, thinking and working scientifically, chemistry, earth and space, biology and physics. So why we say all the combination subjects in the science is that no, now from after grade 8, the students can choose either they want to go for a physics, bio, chemistry, individual sciences. So combination can be given in the lower secondary. At the end of lower secondary, they can go for a checkpoint examination, and at the end of grade 6 and 7, they can go for the progression test. So when you go for checkpoint examination, which will give you a baseline for you, how would be your marks in the grade 9 and 10. So mostly this is what the research Cambridge has been doing over a period of time. Every school, all the data we have it, we do vertical planning and vertical and horizontal plannings. Based on that, we come across that about 84% up to 85% accuracy within one grade in the course subject that no students are choosing this curriculum and getting the high. If they're getting 85 percentage, they're getting 85 to 90 percentage in the grade 9 and 10. So when you go for checkpoint examination, and Cambridge follows three assessment criteria. One is March series. In the month of March, we have exams. Second, May June series. Next is the October November series. But for Indians, the year end comes in the month of March and April. So mostly we follow March and April. So the students can go for it. But for internationally, mostly it is a May or October series. They can opt it. But it is up to the school. They can also go for a international accreditation, international time schedule. That is the May or October. It is up to the schools. So next one we have the upper secondary. Here we have the Cambridge upper secondary has been most demanded curriculum across the world, and we have more than 10,000 schools in more than 150 countries as of today has been affiliated with the Cambridge and has been running the program very, very successful. and lakhs and crores of people have been affiliated with this one. And the age criteria is this one is from the 14 to 16 years. And as I said earlier, we offer 70 different subjects, including physics, chemistry, bio, and so on, so including the 30 different languages. And if you're from Japan, if you come to India because the parents have been migrated, you can also study Japanese in the Indian scenario. And if you're moving from India to China, if you want to study Hindi, you can also study Hindi as a language to score high marks in the language wherever you go in the countries. So here, this is the QR code. You can also scan the QR code and you can find out the different 70 subjects that we Cambridge offer, and you can have the good view about how we progress, and we give flexibility to all the parents and students if they have the different pathways, if they're going to go for JEE and NEET and so on. And we do have the STEM pathway, which I come back later, that also starts with the grade 9. When you start in the grade 9, if you're focusing into science stream that you want to focus on stay JEE and NEET, so we do have the STEM pathway. So this is called as the ICE award. As I told earlier, this ICE award is like a diploma award. There is a comparison between certificate and diploma. When you go for ICE award, it is like a diploma course. The certificate is more valid than the normal IGCSE certificate, but the same subjects. But you need to add one more subject. It is called is global perspectives. So that was the reason I was telling you it has been globally accepted, and every school is been opting from the grade 1 to A level and even beyond. So here the student chooses each language. One language may be English and Hindi. Humanities, one subject they choose it. Sciences, mathematics, maybe economics, or political science, maybe psychology, GP, any other professional creative program. If they took one subject from each, so they are eligible for the ICE Diploma Award. Don't call diploma, we call it the ICE Award in the grade 9 and 10. So now we come back for the last stage, that is the AS and A level, that is for the 11th and 12th grade. And here is a QR code. You can also scan and understand what are the subjects that we offer from the Cambridge. We have the wide variety of subjects and languages. Maybe a couple of languages are there. And depends on the number of students the school offer, it goes with that. So here we start with the age of 16 to 19. Mostly here we don't call teachers. Here we call them as the facilitators. They come with the concept and explain them and guide them for the research, and they ask him for the presentations and evaluations. So this is like early years of college life. How it happens, for example, we have seen the Liverpool University, now it has come to Bangalore. So many other Southampton University, many are coming back to India because India has the potential of international standard of learning it. So we are bringing the international learning program at the footsteps of the people in India at the school level by providing the research based curriculum and implementation in the school. So once you qualify AS and A level, you are being recognized international student with a curriculum in 160 countries plus, and also you can be allowed to go to any university for the placement. And one more thing to add on to the core here, if you study any three subjects or two or three subjects in Cambridge in AS and A level, you are eligible to apply for any university across the world. For example, if you want to go for Christ University in India, or if you want to go for a Princeton University or a Stanford or Harvard or Liverpool, or any other university, just check the eligibility criteria of the application for the bachelor's. We find only three grades are required. That is a three A stars or three A's, one A star, two A, or one A star, one B, one C. Also can be adjustable based on the program that you have it. So which means if you study any three courses like English, mathematics, and business, you are eligible for any other university across the world. But also if you want to go for humanities, you should take minimum five subjects, that is the math and English compulsory. Whereas sciences, you should go for chemistry, bio, and so on. So it matters subject to subject. But if you're taking the humanities, we have the sociology, history, psychology is the best combination. So wide variety of subjects have been given in the ASNA level for students to choose. So when you go for examination, at the end of grade 10 only we have examination, but at the end of grade 9 we don't have an examination. So if you go for the grade 11, The grading will go from the okay, if you're studying the a full book, that is divided into two parts. One is the AS level and A level. AS level is the grade 11, A level is the 12th grade. But you can write the exam at the end of A level, sorry, 11th grade, or together at the end of grade 12 also. That is what we call is tagged as well as a linear assessment. So you can also mention here, the students, Cambridge students can go for a assessment at the end of AS level, or they can also write, if for example, if Mr. Albert is writing the exam in the month of March for March series for grade 11, and I know I'm not getting good marks. So I can also reapply for a May June series. I can also reapply for October series for the better marks. So that is an advantage is given in the Cambridge to have the better access to score for the highest marks for the universities. Or if you don't want to write that way, well, let me do all the exams together at the end of grade 12. But we don't recommend it, but it is up to the schools, but opportunity is given and it is up to the people. And the grading will go from the A star to be the highest and E will be the lowest. As I said earlier, India follows the March series because number of students, lot number of entries. So for few subjects we have it: physics, chemistry, bio, and mathematics, and English, and Hindi, and few other things we have for the March series. But whereas for the whole, we have the national one, that is the October November series and May June series. May June and October is for the international, where Indian students also can go appear, but March series only typically only for the Indian students. And here AS level is being observed more than 130 countries, and we every year we have more than 1.7 lakh people. I mean, learners have been participating in their assessments and been graduating from here. And when this equivalent to the UK ASN level, so there is a difference in the grading in the UK and India. In UK we call them 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but whereas in India we call is A star, A, B, C, D, E, something. Clear? So this is only difference. Apart from that, assessment, teaching, and resources, everything A to Z is same. Only the grading is different between the two countries. So the last one after grade 12 or between the grade 12, you can also study international IPQ. This is the most demanding subject, most favored. Very few schools tried, adopted, and were very good. Now many schools are asking us to explain us more about the international project qualification. I think this academic year 2026 and 27, around of 70 to 75 schools will be trying to adopt what is exactly IPQ. IPQ is the project-based learning. Mostly students focus on research. There is no theory classes here. They take a topic, global topic, and prepare the proper question. They do research. They go for the teachers and guides for the guidance. At the end of the year, they submit the 5,000 research paper. So this is the extra certificate the students are getting it. So this is an added advantage for the people if they want to go for international or Indian best universities through research based learning if you would like to have it. To understand better, and here why IPQ is most important for our children in the 21st century is that which builds the futuristic skills. That is what normally we're not being delivered in the regular classes. The rote learning is not being delivered. It is a most focus on the critical thinking, research, and different parameters they'll be explaining in the first month, problem solving skills, and communication. So these are the fundamental skills we normally have it in the Cambridge. It also encourages the students to work independently. Whereas teamwork comes in the AS level for GP, but when you go for IPQ, students learn independently by their own. They do research, they go to labs, libraries, they do projects, they meet the people, they take the interviews, come back with a synopsis, and they make a presentation and submit to the Cambridge. Based on the presentation, they'll be able to get it. So how it is been aligned? It mostly aligns with a real world application. The topics are most, they can choose any topic. For example, if the child is very good in sciences, so they can take the science topic and research, and they can also submit this document to the Cambridge or for the universities if they're going for an international university, like medicine and so on. So they can also mention that I have done my research of 5,000 words on this topic. So university will request you submit your portfolio. In that portfolio, you should have the presentation papers. So that will give you a lot of boost to get into the best applications to the universities. So finally, what I'm trying to say for this pathway is that no, Cambridge IPQ prepares students to think independently, solve real world problems, like we have the eminent diplomat that is called Mr. Jaishankar, who has been the foreign minister, who has been given the diplomatically is given the solving the issues of India single-handedly. So that is what we want to make sure our learners to be the global leaders and succeed beyond the exams, not only what they learn in the paper. So this is a STEM pathway that we have it. This program starts from the grade 9 till grade 12. So aligning with the people who likes to go for a NEET and JEE examination. It has been a 4-year foundation course, and with the anchor we started last year, and few schools opted it and few CBSE schools also were trying to understand, but it is mostly aligned with the curriculum. It is not a different curriculum. It is aligned with the for example, if you are studying the chemistry, biophysics, 1 or 2 extra lessons will be given about the STEM pathway if you're choosing to be the doctor or engineer, or for any other program that in India competitive examination. So here we focus mostly on, when you're focusing on STEM pathway, it also helps you in academics and also aptitude skills and exposure to the different examination, like exit and entry tickets will be given to you. So this is the pathway normally we have it. So number of teaching hours, the Cambridge being allocated for every school if they like to opt it for the STEM pathways. For example, when a child is being graduated from the 11th and 12th from the CBSE, after 12th they go for Allen or different institutions to get trained for a JEE NEET examination. But whereas we are incorporating the topics and the content from the grade 9 like a pathway, so that the students should not be able to waste their time after 11th and 12th, so wasting for the programs to go for assessments there, so which will give them a clear understanding what exactly I'm learning. And we will be giving you approximately 45,000 standardized practice quiz aligned to competitive exams with built-in diagnostic insights. Apart from that, 150 hours of expert-led training videos in online through this platform, the students will be able to understand. So this is the 4-year pathway. Starts with the grade 9. When you choose your streamline, if you want to be a doctor, you will be choosing grade 9, like physics, chemistry, bio should be compulsory, and mathematics. So then you add STEM pathway with you, then you will be more successful than any other candidate who is going for special trainings beyond it. So apart from this one, what happens after grade 12? So we have been aligned. So long-term benefits of the Cambridge curriculum after grade 12 is that no, it has a global recognition and university readiness will happen, because we will also be training you for the different activities in the classroom. And we'll make sure that you're future ready through skill development, because we are starting from the early years to grade 12, which is means about 15 to 17 years of time. Within this time, your skills will be very, very sharpened and you will be updated with the skill that you have it. And you can also choose the flexibility of choices, and which is the holistic growth. For example, if you're choosing only 5 subjects in the grade 10, you can choose 5. 5 is the minimum. 7 also can be optionable, but not beyond 7 or 9. It will be losing your time. And we also normally don't advise the schools to go beyond 5 subjects or 6 subjects in the grade 11 and 12, because they study in depth and they lose the time in the before the exams. So we progress mostly 3 to 4 subjects where you want to focus. For that, the flexibility is given. So when you study grade 12, after grade 12, the around more than 2,200 universities across the world, like Ivy League, many other universities accept across 90 countries for the university application process. Like no, most of the traditional universities from the USA, UK, and Canada, as the popular, but right now UK we are going better and the best, but reduced for the USA, because we have been getting the information, the visa processing taking a lot of time, not able to get the affiliation, so on. So the universities are coming back to India and stationed in Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, NCR, Pune, and Hyderabad. So these are the places where you can get the good option. But if you want to go abroad, there is a contradictory statement goes here. So people say that no, we have been studying here. The approach may be different when I go to the classroom, because the same mindset of the people are there in India, but still the knowledge is different. But when you go outside, the people also give us a testimony that no, when I was in India, my experience was different. But when I come back to foreign country, the exposure that I had from the classroom is limited. But when I compare with the colleagues that I meet them, that is exponentially very good. So that is what the most of the students go foreign. But as per the 2025 statistics, around 58% to 59% of people are staying back in India from the Indian universities to stay and study Indian institutions. So these are top 10 universities in the world where Cambridge students go, mostly MIT, Cambridge University, Stanford, Oxford, Harvard. So these are the eminent universities where most of the Cambridge students have been going it. But there are many other universities. When you compare with the destinations, for Indians, it was like USA, UK, and Canada. But now the new trend has been changing, like Germany, Austria, Australia, Netherlands, Singapore. So the eastern side, or like sort of European side university, has been the destination for all the people. And when you check out for this subjects, which is subjects are focusing on, these are the top most popular subject taken by the Indian students. One is the business. But when you go for the last 10 years, before 5 to 10 years, engineering was the most dominant subject taken because unemployability was increasing. The people are mostly focusing on to the business because they have the skills, because they can become the entrepreneurs, because they can also start their own companies, they can be the global leaders. So this is the reason most of the people in India choosing the business studies, either where they stay back in India or if they go back to foreign countries. But the next one is that we have the engineering, computer sciences, economics, accounting. These are flexible subject, and these are the other ones. And psychology has been dominating. Right now, psychology is number 8. I think in the maybe 1 or 2 years, it's going to come back to number 5 or 6, because psychology, due to demand, we started in the grade 9 and 10, 11th and 12th is going on, and we had the pathway program that is called well-being. Well-being always connects with the psychology in the later stages. And these are the prominent Indian universities where most of the Indian students have been placed and been getting into it. If they like to go for a law and so on, so NMIMS Mumbai as well as OP Jindal are very good universities for law students. And whereas the psychology also, we have the few other universities getting into it. And this is an affiliation we got from the AIU, Association of the Indian Universities, where you can see on the right side of my hand, I mean the slide here. Second point, minimum of 2 or 3 passes at the GC approved A level, which means if you pass 2 or 3 subjects at A level, that is a grade 12 in Cambridge curriculum, you are eligible to apply for any university in India. So that is the data that we got it from the Indian University Associations. So this is a normal data, a progression to the Indian University. When you people may have the different ideas. So will I be able to go for a NEET and J? Yes, you can go. That is what I have given you the STEM pathway program. But what about the UPS examination? Even mentioned you the different subjects like history, sociology are given a baseline for the grade 9, 10, 11, 12 if they want to go for a UPS examination from the humanities perspective. So these are the top engineering college affiliates that we got it. That no, it is the Cambridge curriculum is also been affiliated with it. And what our alumni, the students, say about us. A few slides for you here, and we have this is a student from the Delhi IIT, Delhi computer science students. What she has been experienced, and here is one more testimony from the students. You can also scan the QR code to understand where our students have been placed and how they have been doing it and how they are getting the good scholarships and so on. So, and this is the last one, just for your reference. And this one more. Yes, and we not only teach you in the classroom, not only give you skills, but also we help you. And we Cambridge came out with a university admission counseling suggest a support desk, where if the schools are trying to ask us about how to do counseling and training programs, and Cambridge we have the separate wing. They can also guide the schools, so where they can place their own children after grade 12. Normally, the counseling starts at the end of grade 8 where they want to start on, and for 4 years the counseling goes on. And here we not only education but also we make the people ready for the world. Thank you all for the session.
Thank you so much, Albert, for giving us so much information about each part of the pathway. It was very explicitly clear as to how strong Cambridge is in India, and especially for the current generation and how relevant it is. I think you've covered a lot of information for us. So, parents, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box. And what we'll do is we'll definitely get back to you via email and send you our replies to those questions. Also, we would love to continue the conversation on Cambridge and its offerings at our various Billabong High campuses. So please do visit. And once again, thank you so much, Albert, for doing this session and giving us so much information on Cambridge. Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
everyone. Thank you.